Joyce Dodge, the MTO Missus. And so it's that time again. We're going to share our vacation videos. And hopefully if you just want to know what these cities look like, this will be a good resource for you. So we started off in the city of Koblenz and in Germany. And we've been in Koblenz before, but previously it's been with students. So it was very nice for just the two of us to be able to walk around and see what we could see in Koblenz. So it's such a pretty city. You know, it's right where the Deutsches Eck is, so you have those two rivers coming together, and I just love the rivers always. So it's just a beautiful, classic old city.
Hey everybody, Joyce and I are in Koblenz. We didn't film our traveling yesterday or meeting with Artie, but we took some pictures. First thing we're doing is we're heading to a model train shop to see if they can fix one of my locomotives I brought with me, and hopefully they'll let me film in there. How are you doing our first day? Good. Joyce, a woman of few words. We are coming up on the Kurfürstliches Schloss, which means what in English, Joyce?
Elector Prince.
The Elector Prince Palace, yep. Now, this building has some sort of local function. I don't think it's the congressional, you know, but there's something based in it now. Then you've got actually the public skate park is over here. And then there's a children's playland over here.
Yeah.
But you got your traditional palace arrangement. You always had the palace in the middle, especially the Enlightenment era. You have the palace in the middle, and then over here you'd have matching servants' quarters. This is where all your cooks and butlers would stay on one side, and then the other side. So you can see it's actually bigger than when you first catch it.
Yeah.
You've got the one servant's quarter, and then you have the various offices and access halls, the main residence, and then all the same things on the other side. Everything, especially at this time of the Enlightenment, was about balance and symmetry. Get a shot of what's inside here. A couple of gorgeous horses guarding the stairwells up to whatever goes. Thought we might be able to go through, but so we are in the Schlossgarten, Castle Gardens. Obviously not a Sanssouci or some of the other ones we've been. Relatively small here, but they were on one of the major rivers here. And if you go down to the river here, you'll see Ehrenbreitstein up on the... And then we'll walk the river pathway to Deutsches Eck. But the park does go far that way. Obviously there's construction this way, both on the bridge and others. I know that way. Oh, okay. But yeah, that entrance is all blocked off. But usually you can come through here from the walk along the river and come up this way and get in, but that's all closed. And there you can just see some of Ehrenbreitstein back there. Alright, so more of the gardens here. We're gonna take a circular around path. And head down to the Rhine. Walk along the Rhine towards Ehrenbreitstein and the Deutsche Seck. Okay, do you remember the name of that castle?
It's Ehrenbreitstein.
And in 2008,
Yeah,
we stayed in that castle.
Very, very musty smelling.
Well, there's a youth hostel up there, and we stayed. The first time we came down here with students, we stayed there. And yeah, you had the train station, well, train stop, dropped you off right there, and you had to walk along the long hill and all the way up. And it was a very steep,
It's a steep long
grade.
climb.
We had some students that did not fare well with that.
No.
And then you got the little castle over here. And I don't think you can see from here. Down the ways from here is the river Lahn comes in. And there's a castle on the corner of Lahn. The bridge might be blocking the view of the castle, I don't know. So, some of the medieval wall that guarded the original palace. That palace remodeled within the last couple hundred years, probably dates back to the 1600s. But these medieval walls probably date back 1300s, 1400s, because this area of the Rhine, even this doesn't look like an old castle. That castle goes back to the late 1100s, 1200s, but it's been rebuilt. The Prussians fortified it and made it a major defensive structure. Rebuilt it in the 1800s as a major fortress and structure to guard the Rhine River against any French aggression, which that even goes back to the 1700s. The War of the Palatinate Succession, the War of even back to the 30 Years' War. All right, so you can just barely see a tower of St. Castor's Basilica. It's a cathedral and a basilica. And we are heading to the Deutsche Seck with the new, they had just built the cable car system, our second to last trip, I think I forget if it went in 2011, 2013. Our last trip to Koblenz was in 2015, and these were definitely running then. But 2011, I think they were in too, or maybe not. Ehrenbreitstein, but come along some of these governmental riverfront buildings. This building has been through many incarnations. It's gone through. Prussians built this when they became overlords of the Koblenz area, part of their various expansions in the 1800s. And of course, always sending the message. You've got some classic mythical German characters, knights and kings, because the Prussians were very much about trying to advertise that they were the inheritors of the German nationalism. Beginning in the early 1800s with the fall in 1806 of the Holy Roman Empire, there was a call by many people to have a unified German state. But the Austrians, the Saxons, the Rhineland-Palatinate, the various rulers all kind of, nobody was going to be part of a country they weren't in charge of. Obviously, certain states were more powerful, but slowly Prussia, through marriage and wars and conquest, garnered more and more territory. So this is called the Prussian government building, when they basically took over the lands of this part of the Rhineland-Palatinate. I don't know if that occurred in 1815 or 1822. Or even later. Joyce and I were just talking, not used to seeing this many cruise ships when we were here with the students. Probably because we came at different times of day. This is about 2 in the afternoon. We normally were here with the students early in the morning. But they also, one of the years we were down here, they were reconstructing, so they may have just built new ones. Obviously, we were talking about the cable car complex. This was new. There was a different building here. Earlier I'd mentioned the Tower of St. Castor's. Here you can see the towers better. I think the other tower must have been the government building, but you can see the Tower of St. Castor's Basilica. We'll get a better view of that when we come around the Deutsches Eck. For my rail spotting fans, there's a train.
It's a local.
From here, I can't tell. I assume a 185. 185, 186.
I need a freight log,
Yeah, but there's a, down here you can see there's a little siding. There's actually a loco on it.
Right.
There's a loco on it and some freight.
It's like a freight you've seen in about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, well there'll be a lot of trains going through there. I keep hoping maybe if I'm a rail fan,
Taking way too many pictures.
catch one of the passenger trains going through.
I thought you
We're walking along what is called the Rheinufer, the bank of the Rhine.
Schönes.
And looking at the cable cars crossing. First few times we came to Koblenz, those weren't there, but they were building them like our 2010. They're waving.
Yeah. I thought they were doing that.
The tourism boats coming in, the Seilbahn, because they built the Seilbahn because Koblenz won a big international festival. The right to hold the festival here was International Garden Show. So they built all this stuff. But when we first started coming down to Koblenz, there were stairs, long stairs. You could walk down here and actually get to the riverside. You can still see some of them over here. But they were blocked off or under construction, but they used to be here as well. Back pre-World War II, they actually had swimming here. They had little swimming areas blocked off, and you can go look up pictures of people swimming. But yeah, you can still see, but now they're blocked off where you can't actually get out to them anymore. One of the most famous sites at Deutsches Eck is this big guy. Do you remember who that is? What?
Is that Friedrich?
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm der Erste, Wilhelm der Große. That is Kaiser Wilhelm. Wilhelm der Große. He was William the Third or Fourth of Prussia, but William the First of United Germany. He was the first emperor of the Second Empire. You know, you always heard Hitler called Germany the Third Reich because Reich is German for empire or kingdom. And so the first empire is what we call the Holy Roman Empire. The second empire was this guy and his son and grandson's rule from 1871 to end of World War I, 1918. And and then Hitler called his the Third Reich, the Third Empire. But they built this here to say this is our land. Of course, this was Germany. This is the Rhine River. France is a ways over that way now, but this was sort of like the Rhine River was a natural border between what is pure German and then the areas that were like Alsace and Lorraine, which are, you know, both Germany and France claim territory, but they did at one time belong to the Holy Roman Empire, which was German. So you got him up there. I think I've been filming about this. Yep. Right, so this is the Deutsches Eck. What do we have, dear? Here, I'm going to back up and let you yak on camera here. You can look at me and do it.
This is where the confluence of the Mosel and the Rhine rivers meet.
And confluence is where Koblenz got its name. It's Latin confluenza became Koblenz.
Right.
Yep.
So I would say typically you can see the different colors of the river. I'm not seeing them today.
You can kind of see it zigzagged, although a better view would be that way when the sun comes out. Because you'll
I
see...
think it's sun conditions that are changing it. But you can see where the currents are mixing here.
Yeah, because the Mosel flows out of France, the Jura Mountains, I think, out of France, comes up through here, and then it flows here, and... And it's kind of hard to see, but there's a zigzag, and that's where the Mosel ends and the Rhine continues. But you'll see different shades. You just kind of see it right there. I'm going to see if Joyce wants to go up there and get a view. Do you want to go up into the statue or like been there, done that?
A little bit of been there, done that.
Okay,
Unless
okay.
you want to get pictures or a video from that.
No, we're good. On the big camping ground here. We're going to catch a train and go that way on Sunday.
Not Saturday?
No, Saturday we're going that way.
Oh, okay.
Saturday we're going to Aachen.
Oh, gotcha.
And then Sunday and Monday is Cochem and Trier.
Explored the Rhine fairly extensively.
These little... Yeah, these little pieces here are special. They've always been here, but these are actually pieces of the Berlin Wall. When the Berlin Wall was being torn down, several German cities asked for sections, sort of in celebration of the reunification of Germany. Now, if I remember correctly, that was originally called the Deutschen Herrenhaus. There's a similar named place in Hanover. And then St. Castor's is there on the other side of these old walls. But they have done a lot of work on this area since we were last here. It has been 10 years since we were here with students, and we did come to the Deutsches Eck with our students, but then we went back the other way. I don't recall us coming this way with the students, because I think we were sort of in a hurry with that trip. I remember this was a quieter street, but this is St. Castor's Basilica. In some ways, I guess you could say it was, I don't know if you can say it's the most important church, but a basilica is a place where official functions go, such as priest being ordained and so on. I will go this way. I'll give you a nice view. Hopefully I'll remember to flip this when I edit the video. Take two. We are coming up on Großplatz. Großplatz is named after Josef Goebbels, who was a late 18th, early 19th century writer, late 1700s, early 18th writers, who actually had a very interesting and sometimes politically troubled career as a writer. He started off as a staunch supporter of the French Revolution and overthrowing the tyranny of monarchy. But as he watched where the French Revolution went and the rise of Napoleon, he became very outspoken against Napoleon, which of course Napoleon controlled much of Germany in the early 1800s. And he felt that calls for democracy and democratic revolution led to, well, led to bad things, and therefore you needed strong central government. He was born Catholic, and so towards the end of his career he became quite a pro-papist writer, that you need a strong central government and the Pope should definitely dictate the morality of the country. Many folks would disagree. Anyhow, Großplatz here. This is typical of many cities in Germany. You have a fountain which will often tell the city's history. There's a cool one, not nearly as big as this one. There's a cool one in Osnabrück, but I haven't been to Osnabrück since 2016. But this tells the history of the city from its founding, and you see the Rhinemen rowing a boat and carrying caskets of wine and beer, and going up Roman times. The great fire of the city is there, and the rebuilding of the city and the unrest of the plagues and the various civil wars, the Great Peasant Revolt, as well as the 30 Years' War, which really started as a Holy Roman Empire civil war, but expanded from there. Okay, we are in Jesuitenplatz, and they've really expanded some of the restaurants and shops here. When we were here with the students, it was never this packed with people here. But this was a Jesuit, and you can tell Jesuit. They will have Jesuit buildings from the Renaissance on had this exact shape. They would have this little triangle bit shape, the large rosary window and such. And Jesuits really became the church's education program. There was actually a much darker side to that, but they really became known as the great educators. I went to a Jesuit high school. But this was a Jesuit school and college, and the town hall is on the other side of this, or the old town hall, I should say. And this is the Schlangelbrunnen. Brunnen is fountain, Schlangel. There is a story to this kid, and I'll have to put a picture up, and I don't remember exactly, but basically he is spitting water, and there's a story as to why he's doing it. But it's actually a very famous site. So this is Schlangelbrunnen. And the old Rathaus was in this area right here. The second Rathaus building, Rathausgebäude. You can see it says here, Rathausgebäude. Okay, there it is. I don't know if it's coming out on camera, but yeah, he spits water. But he was a bit of a prankster, and to this day, you dance around, play on the fountain, sit on the fountain, and you don't know when he's going to spit. But all of a sudden, he'll just start spitting water on you. And it's really nice on a hot day. And if I haven't mentioned, it is a hot day. It's actually 10 degrees warmer than they originally projected it would be. When we looked at the 10-day forecast, they said low 70s. We are in the mid-upper 80s. Well, I should say low to mid-80s. But this is the Rathaus Gebäude 2. This is the second Rathaus building. The original is gone. But this is the second, and this is not the main Rathaus anymore. So this whole area is Rathaus, and this is the second half in the main part of the Rathaus. So you go in there and you have the city hall, and up there you can see it says Bürgeramt. There's no way you're going to get this all in a picture, so but I think we need to pause and get a drink. Right. This street is called Altenhof, and we live at number 4 Altenhof, which is, I don't know if you can see my hand there, there's a grayish building there, just past the sign that says Dream Style here. So yeah, there you can see it. Put my finger in there. We live up there. That's our apartment. And then around the corner from Altstoff is the Mundsplatz with some of its famous drummers. Okay, this area is Mundsplatz, and it's got a couple of famous little bits. They used to, Munds is coin, so back in the Middle Ages and that, the coin makers would have been here. In German cities, occupations were gilded and they stayed together. So there's this little story of the Matzfrau, cabbage and potato lady. And basically the story of the statue is that he's writing her a ticket for not having a license to sell her farm goods. And he says, but you've already arrested my husband for it. So she's got to make her money. You can't arrest me. I've already arrested my husband. And how many times I've had students play at this fountain. On a hot day. But this is the main site. Now there are some areas of Koblenz we don't go to. Now this here you can't quite see. This building here has 2 boys. But there's 2 boys in the picture here. But that's Max and Moritz. Now, back in the 1890s through the 1900s, there were there's a comic strip called the Katzenjammer Kids, or Katzenjammer Kids, and they were based on the exploits of Max and Moritz. Max and Moritz were 2 little boys that would get into trouble. And actually, it's a very dark and tragic story in the end. They wind up getting killed in a chicken factory. But they were pranksters and troublemakers. And this place is called the Max and Moritz Grill. And not that it has anything to do with the story. And over the years, my students and I would come here and eat. They actually make good American-style burgers. We haven't eaten there yet, but we will. So that was it's a fun place, and we peeked in, and I think the same family still owns it. But that's the Max and Moritz Grill. the Liebfrauenkirche. Alright, so this is Florensmarkt and St. Florens Kirche. And this was, I'm probably forgetting, but there's a story to the face underneath the plaque. But this was like a taxation house, because you had the ships from the coming up the Moselle River would dock on this side of the river, because the Moselle is just past that area here. And this was the, I believe this was the Zollamt, the tax office. I could be wrong. And then you had St. Florens Church, and this was Florens Market, because the sailors would, the ships coming in would set up goods to sell here after being checked by the tax. Okay, is he coming through here? It's quite possible. Well, he's got a turn signal on.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
And again, the tight angles with it. This is a 1760s, 1770s apartment house built in Koblenz. You zoom in on the sign there. Spätbarockes Wohnhaus. The late Baroque era Wohnhaus, which was rebuilt and remodeled in the 1980s. This is the vegan. Right. Again, not going to be able to get this in, but this is the last stop on this tour of for today. This is the Liebfrauenkirche. Dates to the 1200s. Although it's been rebuilt and remodeled a few times since then. Alright, so this is the biggest and maybe the major church building. It's the Liebfrauenkirche, maidens, if you want to be more polite language, but it means the Virgin's Church. The Liebfrau does not necessarily mean the Virgin Mary. It can, but a Liebfrau is any virginal woman. So let me turn around, see if I can get it all in. I'm not thinking so, because it's just, corners are just too tight to do that. No matter how you do it. And then the church community that goes with it. Well, now it's a cafe, but the old church buildings, the priest would have had a house there. Okay. We were here a bit earlier, but didn't really get a good video of it. This is Wirt's house, the old, how would you translate Wirt's house? Wirt is economy, so it's sort of the old trade house for it was sort of like a middle-aged version of a stock brokerage. You know, stock exchange, that's what I'm looking for. But different, definitely different than a stock exchange.